Namaste. I extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on this national webinar series Yoga Ramayana Vishwakosha History. In our third episode with Professor A.N. Pandeji, he'll be speaking about Siyaram Tattva in Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Standard Particle Model.
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ. My humble pranam to Pujya Guruji. My pranam to all the friends of Vyasa, and my humble pranam to the viewers who are sparing the time to see this. Friends, we have already seen the mantra what we have taken from Tulsidas Ramayana, and that actually why we call it mantra, because that has now till now we have proved that Siya Ram Sab Jag Jani, what he says is very, very correct, not only correct, very authentic subject or very authentic substance, or rather we can say particles, or in our own terms we can say tattva, which are responsible for creation of any objects of the universe, starting from the stars, galaxy, and ending with animates and inanimates. So that way we see that Siya and Ram, these are the two tattvas which are responsible for creating the universe, all objects of the universe. Last 2 days we have seen that the same, we are trying to do the research on that, how far that statement is correct. So what we have seen that a statement given by Sri Tulsidas Ji is very, very appropriate or very clear, that without Siya and Ram, there is no existence of the universe. And because of that only universe start working, and unless Siya and Ram Tattva is there is no existence of any humankind or any body on the universe. Because otherwise, all will be floating, all would have been in the very energy form, and there could not have been any matter, including matter like human being or animals. That we have seen. And we have also seen that Siya and Ram is getting fully support of MOU, means the model of the universe, what we have made for the easy understanding. In that, Siya and Ram stands in the Siya stands at fourth Bindu, and Ram stands at Bindu number 2. And this was seen in the macro universe, means whole visible universe, as well as in the micro universe, in the human body, by which our rishis are trying to evolve so many facts and figures about the universe or about our evolution. At the same time, we have also seen that Siya and Ram got endorsement from the Upanishad of Narayana Upanishad, and that has clearly indicated that when Adi Narayana wanted to emerge or wanted to appear from one to many, the first appearance was in the form of Siya and Ram, that is a sort of favorable or flavor of, we can say, the domain where Shiva and Ram existed, and that was our Akasha Tattva, and from because of Shiva, that other Tattva, Prana Tattva got activated, where other two Tattva like energy and Jivatma got emerged. So we have seen that Narayana Upanishad also endorsed the same mantra or same statement of what Sri Tulsidas ji has given. Further, we have seen that Ram Darbar, from Ram temple, we have taken a lesson, and there also we have researched that the four idols in the Ram temple is because of scientifical, because of the existence of the universe without four particles or four tattva, universe cannot sustain or cannot get created. So that Ram Darbar or Ram temple idols also endorses the concept given by Sri Tulsidas ji that Shiva and Ram are the two tattvas by which whole creation started. After viewing all the after seeing all angles, we have concluded last time or last episode that Shiva and Ram have got support. The G2 Tattva has got support or endorsement from so many different angles like universal model or model of the universe, like Tattva or like our Upanishad, and also now we are going to see that how other scripture is going to support that concept. Swami Vivekananda got very much impressed, and that's why he has taken the two domains of Shiva and Ram, that is Akasha and Prana, and that he was advocating to the scientists in the Western world. With that, perhaps scientists would have got some hints and would have done some of the jobs, but lastly, scientists also got the similar kind of concept, equivalent to Akasha and Prana, only terms were different. So that those things we will see today. Today, we are going to take up Bhagavad Gita, one hand, and in other hand, we are going to take up the particle physics, or we can say the standard particle model. How they endorse the concept of Shiva Ram Sabdakitani. We'll see in the next flow, or we will have a sort of slide for that, and we'll see that one. There was a query by someone that okay, whatever we have to examine so far, they are based on the names of God and goddesses, like Shiva and Ram, name of the god. Shiva is the goddesses, and Ram is the god. At the same time, Narayana Upanishad also is on the name of Narayan, the god. But is there any scripture by which we can endorse the same concept, Shiva Rama Sabdakitani, where God and goddesses names are not there? For that, Bhagavad Gita comes to our rescue. In Bhagavad Gita, beauty of the Bhagavad Gita is that Lord Krishna very rarely provides any names of God, or that also in the form of purest form of Maheshwara and Paramatma, like that. Otherwise, all the terms of Bhagavad Gita, you will find that it is without the terms are without the names of God and goddesses, and they are they have been termed with some other names. That is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. And Sri Krishna, though he has shown the Virat Roop to Arjuna, but he doesn't say that you worship me as a Krishna. How Bhagavad Gita is going to support or endorse the statement of Sri Tulsidas. Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, there is a Kshetra and Kshetragya. That topic has been discussed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 13. Kshetra is for Prakriti, for Shiva, and Kshetragya is for Brahmaram. It is overall Brahm and Maya consideration. But the same can also be analyzed, but I have taken the 3 verses of Bhagavad Gita, same chapter of Bhagavad Gita, means chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, that is verse number 19, 20, and 21, which clearly indicates that how Purusha and Prakriti played a role for the creation of the universe or creation of all objects of the universe. In verse number 19, what Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna, that, O Arjuna, mind it that Purusha and Prakriti are eternal. What he means? Purusha stands for Sri Rama, or Ram in our Tulsidas words, and Prakriti stands for Mata Janki. So that way, what he is telling, that Purusha and Prakriti, Sri Rama and Mata Janki are the eternal factors in the universe, and they exist all the time. It is not that they will not be available. So this is the main ingredients or main tattva for creation. And at the same time, these 3 verses give a clear picture how the other 2 tattvas are playing, are coming along with Purusha and Prakriti, and how all 4 are going to make the sort of good planning or good proper way of interaction to form the objects of the universe. So verse number 19 states that, O Arjuna, Purusha and Prakriti are the eternal, and Prakriti or nature also instigate a Karan, cause. Here you see the word is even Karan, not any god name or any other name. Karan, he says. Karan means a sort of which is the main cause for the creation. That is in our Upanishad or in other terms, what we have seen, that is prana. So that prana also gets activated by Prakriti. In the next verse, verse number 20, what that means, that Prakriti has got 3 gunas, Rajo, Tamo, and Sattva, and because of 3 guna, whichever comes in association with Prakriti. Here, verse number 20, the role of Purusha in association with Prakriti is given. What it means, they say that Purusha being associated with Prakriti starts or creates Jivatma, and because of a Prakriti association, the Jivatma will also have the three guna, and Jivatma get trapped in the life, in the birth and death cycles. So verses like 19, 20, and 19, 20, and 21. Yeah, all the three are clearly stating or clearly meaning that how the Prakriti, Purusha and Prakriti, they are eternal. What is the role of Prakriti to activate cause or Karan, or we can in our terms it is Prana, and association of Purusha with Prakriti give birth to the Jivatma, and Jivatma also get all the three guna. Because of three guna, Jivatma gets trapped in the cycle of birth and death. So what it means, the three was telling the same concept, or rather it tells the better way of the better role of all the four tattvas in creation of the object of universe. This this also endorses the concept given by Sri Tulsidas Ji, and in that way we can say that Bhagavad Gita also endorses whatever Sri Tulsidas Ji has given the concept. In this Bhagavad Gita, one thing we find that Bhagavad Gita also tells the roles and how the importance of Prakriti provides the impact on Purusha, when Jivatma, as well as the cause, that is what Urja or power is there. Now, having understood up to the Bhagavad Gita endorsement on the mantra, we'll go to the next phase, that is very important phase of modern science. How the modern science is also going to endorse the same statement of Tulsidas Ji. So here we have to little understand what is the basis of modern science. And modern science, we can say quantum physics, has got a fundamental table. That table is called a model of elementary particles, or that is also called that whatever models is showing, a tabular form model is showing. So that is the model of particle physics. Particle physics means that particles which is going to play in the all activity of the universe, all the as a basic building block for the object of the universe, to form the object of the universe. So that what scientists have observed and what they have tabulated, that comes under the standard model of particle physics or a standard model of elementary particles. Whatever name we call it, both are the same. In that, as we have seen in the Narayana Upanishad, that when Adi Narayana emerges as a Akasha and Prana, and Akasha is equivalent to quark, and Prana is equivalent to lepton. That we have seen from the Narayana Upanishad. So here, in this particle physics, the two terms, quark and lepton, that emergence is now very clear that it emerges after the Big Bang. So after Big Bang, only these two domains emerges, like quark and lepton. And quark has got the flavor of proton and neutron. That's why proton, neutron are called the flavor of quark. Similarly, lepton has got the family that is electron and neutrino. And the table clearly provides that quark having the flavor of proton and neutron, they are of three generations, first, second, and third. Similarly, lepton family and electron and neutrino has got the three generations. Why they have got the three generations? This is because if you go back to the uh, Bhagavad Gita, the role of Prakriti or here role of neutron is so important that because of the three guna, consisting three guna, they all they have become the proton and neutron all has got the three types. You can say three generation type it is shown in the quark family because of the three guna of the Prakriti or neutron. Similarly, three guna of the Prakriti or neutron, the lepton family also got the three generation. What I mean to say, the role of neutron or we can say that Shia or Prakriti are very, very important for influencing or having the impact on the other particles. And by that way, we see in the table that there are quark is having three generations of a combination of proton and neutron. Similarly, lepton family had also got a three generation combination of electron and neutrino. So totally, because of three guna of nature or Prakriti or Kriya or Maya, the total particles becomes 12, 6 for quark and 6 for lepton. These 12 particles are the building blocks of all the objects of the universe. So when they, what is the difference between all the 12 particles in the quark family, quark flavor, that all have got the same spin, half spin, but charge and masses are different. Similarly, lepton family also has got the same spin, half spin, but different masses and different charges. So that way they differ with charge and mass, but having the same spin. And what is the meaning of the spin, charge, and mass that we'll see later on. But because of that, they form the 12 particles. In Narayana Upanishad, let us recall the Narayana Upanishad. There also it is mentioned that there is a 12 Aditya. Same 12 Aditya of Narayana Upanishad it signifies the 12 particles of the standard model of particle physics. And when this type of a sort of similarity there between Bhagavad Gita and between Narayana Upanishad or in Narayana Upanishad and particle physics, then there is we can say that all other things will see all other aspects of particle physics will certainly match with the concept given in Bhagavad Gita. This table has clearly this table provides the clarity of the 12 particles which we are having in the Narayana Upanishad as well as in the Bhagavad Gita also. And these 12 particles are the building block for the objects. Now, once we are comparing this quark and lepton table with the Bhagavad Gita concept, then next table we have shown that how quark flavor and lepton family they resembles with the uh, Purusha and Prakriti as well as Urja and power of the Jivatma. So this is shown in the next slide where we are comparing uh, Bhagavad Gita along with the uh, particle physics table. So this way we have come to up to this, and these two comparison, if we are going to analyze further, that analysis will show us that how the 12 particles are becoming a sort of, or after interaction provide the force, and interacting force could be carried by some other particles. That those particles are called in scientific term boson. So table you will find that there is a particles table, and side by vertical model shows vertical part as a boson, and the Higgs boson, which is a scalar one. That we'll talk later on. But what we understood that quark and lepton emerged after Big Bang, as we have seen in the Narayana Upanishad, and we have seen the clarity about those things, Purusha, along with by the statement of Bhagavad Gita in terms of Purusha and Prakriti, and all are endorsing the concept given by the Tulsidas in the form of Siyaram Vaisravgadidani. So we have, till now we have understood that Siyaram Vaisravgadidani has got many supports from different angles, including Bhagavad Gita and particle physics, or a standard model of particle physics. Now, we'll conclude the discussion today. We have understood that particle model or a standard model of particle physics is completely endorsed by the Bhagavad Gita, some verses of Bhagavad Gita. We have seen that one. And we have seen the loop also, the how Bhagavad Gita in that Purusha and Prakriti forms a loop, which is equivalent to the loop of quark. And similarly, the loop of Jivatma as well as the energy prana, that also forms a loop which is equivalent to the lepton family. Having understood this, we will conclude today, and we will have the next or last the last session where we will compare or we will try to understand the how boson uh, obtained by the scientist, and what is the reason behind that, what is the uh, action of what way boson helps the particles to interact. Those things we will see in the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor A.N. Pandeyji, for your beautiful talk on Siyaram Tattva in Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Standard Particle Model. We'll see you again with another topic. Namaste.